It's Sarah, no support workers. And today I've got Lisa from Harmony Health. And I'm really excited to talk to you because you're doing some really cool stuff in the sector. And I can't wait for people to listen to this podcast to hear about it. So, you have had a really long career in the enterprise product space, retail space. What
Yeah.
was your first, what pulled you in first to products? What gave you that drive?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, like my first kind of foray into building products in health technology and retail platforms was in pharmacy. And I think what really drove me was I just really liked to solve problems for my customers and translate that into easy to use, powerful technology.
So, what led you to want to? Let me wind this back. You've led some really large scale platforms across hundreds of pharmacies across Australia. What
Yeah.
did it teach you about real life implementation?
Oh my goodness, it taught me communication is key. So I was building, just for context, like I was building the enterprise software that pharmacy head office groups would use. And some of the biggest groups that product has supported is 750 pharmacies, and it's the business operations of those pharmacies. So what I learned in not just designing that software but rolling it out was that you are designing it for not only the head office group but 750 CEOs. So it's communication, it's transparency, it's change management. I think it's really set me up for a career in product as a result.
Because there'd be a lot of testing involved with that to see how it works and back and forth and what is the customer
Yeah.
fit.
Absolutely. It is really complex. And we have this saying, or had this saying in my team, that we were building for simple complexity. And what that meant was that we were building really complex engines behind it, like it's calculating pricing for pharmacies or, a lot of analytics and data. But on the front end, it was just everyday users like us, aren't operating a dashboard of buttons, but it's just really simple workflows and easy workflows.
It's
So
funny
there was so much testing involved, yes.
because we only see like at the other end all the pretty buttons and all the pretty things that it
Yeah.
does really quickly. We
Yeah.
The understanding of what is required to go into the back end to make it so functional isn't is
Yeah.
mind blowing.
It really is. It really is. And then I think just really knowing your audience and knowing what they want and also predicting what they will want in the future, but they don't quite know it yet.
Until
And
you give it to them.
translating, yes, exactly, exactly. And translating that into the right amount of buttons for their skill level or for what they want to do.
The wooing of CEOs, you said you had 700 of them. They are not
Yeah.
easy people to please. I don't even know how to describe it. I think it's because of the time that I've spent interviewing in this sector. There's so
Yeah.
many different personality types and traits
Yeah.
in this sector to meet that middle ground. Like, how did you
Yeah.
bring them in? Like, how did you woo them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, gosh, that's that can be challenging in itself. So, I think, what we did in that space was we identified our advocates. And they were the people that were a little bit technology forward to start with, that really got excited about new tech and trying things. And we made them into advocates. We identified how it solved their problems and benchmarked, the efficiencies that they gained as an example. And then we rolled it out with the messaging that it's saved, X percent in time, or it's increased your average basket size by this percent. And we let the analytics and the facts speak for themselves.
So, was that the easiest way to scale for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think, the healthcare, or developing tech in healthcare is a lot about trust. And it's obviously it's holding really sensitive information, cannot go down in any way, or it can't stop healthcare delivery. So you need to build that trust and you need to build it with people, like I said, that's willing to be a bit brave and trial it to start with, but giving them a lot of support. And then when other people see those results, you've got that trust.
So, you were quite successful. So, to be honest, like, yeah, because it does take a different part, like implementation stuff. you know,
Yeah.
it takes another level of understanding the data and making it
Yeah.
live. Where was there like a point or a moment, because that seems like such a successful part of your career, to open up something completely different? What were you thinking? Like, did you always want to build something for yourself?
Think, when you say it like that, successful corporate career as startup founder, it's it's a brave new world. But I think at my core, I have always been a little bit entrepreneurial. I've liked to problem solve, but I think really what the problem for me that I just couldn't ignore and I needed to solve was when my dad got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And it was us as a family navigating him having those treatments, those medications, and getting that support into the home and feeling really alone and vulnerable. And like we had no tools to manage that care. And my dad is in Perth and I'm in Melbourne and I've got brothers in Queensland. So we're all spread, trying to trying to care for him. We really had no tools and I couldn't ignore it anymore. So I took the leap.
So was it kind of like one of those stuff that I'll build it anyway?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit
Yeah.
actually. They tell you, can I say I broke all the rules? So I built tech. It's easy. I mean, people that, are the developers. So we built the tech when really we did things the opposite way around. And it's, validate your market, set up your sales pipelines and your interest and things like that. So that's been a journey going, no, 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 you need to speak to people first, but
You
it's all
just dug
learning,
right
right?
in.
Yeah, it's all learning. It's all learning. But also it's been like a bit of a journey as well, is like as dad's care has, intensified and then mum has actually been added to that. She's had a fall. So she needs extra support, but just different support. It allowed me to learn more and about navigating like aged care as an example and long provider wait times and impacts and things like that. So there's been a lot of our own learnings that have gone into it.
So, what problems did you see in the home care space that made you think, was it a problem even in the home care space, or is it a problem that you just really wanted to solve for your family?
Both, actually. What I saw for my family was that, so my dad's pretty computer savvy. So he created a spreadsheet and it was, all of his health information or his, notes from his appointments when he remembered. And, I would find myself ringing him every day going, what did the GP say? Have you taken that medication? Things would slip through the cracks and compound that with long provider wait times, fragmented care. We were going to the emergency room more times than what I can count, which is, it's emotional, it's emotional time. It's emotional roller coaster. But I think, like if we go out and look at home care as a wider market, it is all the same problems that you've got 3 million family carers or 3 million carers supporting care in the home. And we know that providers and people like yourself that are amazing once you get them, but you stretch really, really thin. So the problem still translated to what we were experiencing was that you just need more in the home.
So, for anyone listening, can you explain your
Mm.
product to them? Like, is it a physical product? Is it an app? I don't think I've touched on that. Apologies.
No, that's okay. So imagine walking into a home and instead of having like a Google Hub on the bench, you would have a Harmony Home Health Hub. And what that would do is that would support your participants or your individuals' daily routines, all their medication management, their care information, like their care plans in one place. And then what that would do is connect to their village of support around the home. So it would connect to family like us for visibility that dad's taken his medication or he's had that care appointment. And it would connect to the care team so that they could actually coordinate their care and sequence their care and be able to share care information to the hub.
So, was your parents the first ones that got to try the model?
They were, yes, whether they liked it or not, they really were, and different. They were both really different use cases. So dad's obviously going through chronic illness and a really tough journey, but mum was really different. So mum has had a fall and it's affected her mobility, but socially active still. Just wasn't really on any medication per se. And I gave it to both of them. And as an example with mum, it's given her confidence for her day just to manage when her care appointments are or when her social life is as well. And it's with dad, it's supporting 5-page medication lists when that comes out of hospital that he has to have.
Did they ask for anything that you didn't think of to be added?
Yeah, you know what? They did. And going back to that medication list, it was actually probably as a whole family, we went, whoa, we need more. So dad had, uh, you know, medication's a bit of a journey, and he'd gone into hospital for 6 weeks. And he was released 2 days before Christmas. He lives on his own and with a 5-page medication list that include a number of pretty strong painkillers
Meds.
and no supports, absolutely no supports. So as a family, we're all staying together at Christmas, and I'm like, here you go, Dad, here's the home health hub. We're using it. And what we actually found was, like as an example, medication reminders is not enough. It is not medication management in the home. What we found is we needed something that allowed us to hand over without the handover, so that I could give some medication doses and then my other brother could, with little to no handover, or dad when he's feeling better. And it was things like medication safety. So some of those painkillers, it's really important that you don't take them any more than 8 hours, a minimum 8 hours apart. So important. Needed more. Um, and you know what, as well, like real life happens, and people are receiving care for a reason, and sometimes they can sleep through that medication. So what we also needed was that medication, routine to actually update based on when we took it and auto calculate going, okay, this is the next dose.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think of that with blister packs and support workers because it's never the automation is never quite clear and you can't always have them. Like it needs to have that 4-hour period. Wow.
correct. And I think just from lived experience alone, and the pain going, oh my God, we could have dad given that to dad within that 8 hour
Mm.
threshold, or, we could have given him too much medication. Just those feelings became the non-negotiables of what we delivered. So now everybody has that functionality from version 1. Yeah.
Was it hard because he's quite independent to put a
Yeah.
product like this into his home to and explain that this actually helps you be even more independent in a sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So well, both of them really. You get the whole I'm fine. It's fine. Like I ring every day, I'm fine. But I think, you know, what's sort of happened over time is they've actually realized, or both of them have realized that um, being independent doesn't mean that you don't need a little bit of support to help you maintain your day or be in control of your day. And it's better than, families surveilling or hovering like what we were doing. And so I think just that experience, has made them both really embrace it.
Can you leave notes on it?
Yeah,
So a carer
absolutely.
could come in and say, "Oh, medication was given, but appeared drowsy,"
Yeah,
or "I noticed this morning with the meal assists and things happen."
absolutely. So, from a care coordination point of view, so one of our first pilots was a gentleman in the home who's got Parkinson's. And he had a support worker coming in and a OT and physio and speech pathologist. So basically what the hub allowed them to do is like share their care plans so that they could see, when the gentleman needed particular care or things like that, coordinate their care, but also leave notes for each other. Hey, this has been done, like you mentioned, this has happened today.
So is there much training for support workers and people that are using the product? Does it take long?
Yeah, so this is a simple complexity. So making a product so visual and so simple to look at, it doesn't need a lot of training. So whilst we provide training, it really is very straightforward. And there's multiple views as well, so that you can get as simple or as detailed as what you need.
Yeah. So out of, because you're a data person, let's be quite clear about
Yeah.
this. Is there
Yeah, yeah.
anything when you were doing some of the testing or even to now that surprised you in
Mm.
the data, how people are using the product?
Yeah, I think that, like all of it's been a bit of an evolution, right? And it's, you know, it's if they leave reminders and things like that, they don't sort of complete them or they just press complete, complete, complete really quick. Things like that can really stress the system. And you know that you've got to, cater for lots of button pressing, things like that. But no, it's the basics really. It's just I think what's really surprised us is if I had to put my finger on it, it's we can be a little bit detailed, but it's the simple views I think that people are using the most.
So are your parents your best sellers of the product?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I tell you, I've done something I never thought I'd do in my career ever.
Go for it.
Was I took my mum to a health tech conference on Friday, and I know, brave. And we spoke to all the big home care providers, and what I actually found was that it was interesting having mum because she's my biggest advocate now. And she was like explaining it to the providers about how it makes her feel. And they
Yeah.
wanted to listen to that going, and they didn't want to hear from me, the data tech person. They wanted to hear from her going, well, what is it that makes you like
Yeah.
it? What is it that you're getting out of it? And really for her, it was just confidence to manage her day. Um,
That's a bigger selling point, isn't it? Because it really is from somebody that
isn't it?
does require it and need it, and there is a language around it. And
Yeah.
so were you able to show, like, a lot of people this product in
Yeah.
one go with her?
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, it wasn't the complex, I can do this and this and this. It enables people to feel in control of their day. They've got independence, they've got confidence, and
So
it's support without hovering.
it's not just a individual that can buy your product. It can be brought by a family. It can be bought by a provider. Is there a difference in like who is buying it from you guys? Have you noticed?
Not really, because I think the core elements are actually the same. It's those daily routines. It's those that care information in one place. So whilst there might be like customizations from a provider level, the core features are pretty much the same.
Because the way that the product looks, you can adjust and update it as required. So just say if there's something that you want to add into the feature, regardless of the model, it will automatically update, or is it something that you have to update manually?
No, so it's all automated. So the hub in the home on the kitchen bench is automated, like it updated with every release. So it'll be probably during the night, so no one will ever see it. And then, what we do is we give those instructions and this is what's changed and you give those handy hints. But also as well, like I've made a real point of having this company as like all of the updates are driven by the users. So as an example, in the hub, you've got an ideas portal and you can say, I'd love it to do X, Y, Z. And people can vote on that. So what we can do is go, okay, this is getting a lot of votes. This is where a lot
Mm.
of people are at. And we can develop and send that through.
So
So
from the voting, what have you added into the product?
well, medication safety, order updates and routines, things like that. It is obviously like the visibility of family has been a big one, care information, things like photos. People also want to just see photos of family. They want to see the grandkids and have that up as a slideshow on their hub. So it's been a few things like that, but what's coming through as well will be, languages and multiple profiles and things like that.
So what makes your product completely different to other people on the like
Mm.
other products in the market?
Yeah. So I think that for me, it is whilst we can't be everything to everybody, we're not, a magic pill in the home. We're a single, like I guess, a gateway of support. We combine all the information, the people into one place. So whereas a lot of I think things that you see in the home, like like falls or sensors or things like that, they're very siloed. You've just got that product and it's just got that app that gives you the data, but it's not connected anywhere. So I think the whole purpose of our software or our kind of product is that we can connect in a lot of different points of data.
Can you download it? Like, just I'll give you an example that
Mm.
certain medication they might be missing, or I've noticed
Yep.
that every Tuesday we might have a fall when we're out and about. Can it collate that type of information so you can give it to a GP or a nurse?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. So, obviously everything updates in real time. So if you put, as a support worker, you put something in, it's there. And that data is shared with whoever, has the ability to see it. But second of all, that as a company, we were selected as one of 18 companies to connect to My Health Record and e-prescribing. So you've also got data being uploaded to My Health Record. So naturally it's shared as well.
Does it blow the socks off people? Like, literally, because they'd be like, "Oh my god, it automates this and it does this, and I don't I don't have to follow up with an email. Like, I don't have to send one to this person, that person, the care team. It just automatically does it."
Absolutely. It really does. Especially like the people like yourself that are going into the home but they're also spending so much time doing admin and, trying to coordinate care and things like that. And, we're building it to save that time.
Yeah. Wow. Sorry. I know you've told me about it before, but I just love the
Yeah.
fact that how accessible the product is.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's the whole point of it, really. It just needs to be easy to use and accessible, but also as well, a promise that I've made to myself in developing this is it can never ever get in the way of people and meaningful connections. So, it's really designed to be support from the background so that you've got more time to just connect.
Yeah. And gather it where it's not in a way that can be quite it can just waste admin time, the gathering part
Yeah.
of the information from every service to bring into the one spot and to have it there. But also, like as a family member yourself that lives far from your dad in particular, just knowing what happened during the week that we
Yeah.
did do what we were going to do and then we saw it through and maybe it was Sally
Mm.
on Saturday came in, provided support, whatever it may be, just having that
Yeah.
peace of mind.
You know what? From a family, 1000%, because there's been times, and I probably need to apologize to my dad before I say this, but, bless him, but he's perhaps not taken his medication and then he's had a fall. And we don't know that. We don't know that he didn't take his medication. So with this, we know. And also, we know what that medication is for. So that's been a big thing as well. And there's been a lot of times where he's received care and he's told, whoever's come into the home, I'm fine, I'm fine. And we'd be like, have you told them this? Have you told them this? Have you told them this? No. So, like having this sort of platform that's really designed to be able to share that information.
Yeah. And a way that's routines as well. So yeah. To
Yeah.
keep that independence wherever possible.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned a little bit about this, but can we go a little bit deeper about how you've balanced technology with humanity because care is personal. So I know you've done the
Yeah.
pictures. I know it's routines. Is there any other little elements that you've added in that is for users only, that particular box?
Yeah. So just it's personal. I think really we've done that with the hub to be able to actually allow them to personalize it from everything to color. I love hot pink, so mine's hot pink. Dad's a green, mum's an orange. We've been able to personalize it with views, like I mentioned, it's easy views, more detailed views, and also as well plugins. So dad loves the weather, absolutely loves the weather. So we've got a weather plugin. Today is XYZ, temperature. Um, Here's some photos of the grandkids. And also, as well, really importantly, every morning, afternoon, you know, good morning and that person's name. So it feels like that personal experience.
So do you have one for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely. I coordinate my family's care. So I've got a busy family. I've got two boys that have lots of sports and we have a lot of things going on. So there's one on my kitchen bench. They've got Nurofen when they're sick that needs to be taken 8 hours apart, and soccer practice at the same time. And
it could be
yeah,
everybody use it. Doesn't have to be particular for aged care or disability. It could be across any family or any individual
Yeah.
person because I know I'm not very good at keeping like, when I needed to take medication, I was horrible at it. Could never keep up.
Yes.
I'd always forget.
Well, life is busy, isn't it? So, like, I found myself, I was putting all these reminders in my phone, take your medication or this and that and that, but we'd still have calendars on the wall. So now we've got Harmony on the bench, and, it's just a view of knowing exactly what's going on. So it
How
makes it
did you
easier.
how did you come up with the name?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's a couple of little things actually. So I wanted the name to represent what it feels like when you get support, and and also my like branding as well. It feels like you step out of a black and white TV into a color TV, and everything's in harmony. You've got your social health, your well-being, and all your holistic care just in balance. So that was a little bit of where harmony came from, and the boring little bit was what was free as well, with business names and things like that.
Yeah, that's really difficult. I've been through the process. Yeah, you're like, who thought of
It's
that?
really big.
For
Yeah,
me.
yeah. And you get set on a name, you're like, this is the name, and then
Yeah,
people have
gone.
got it already. So you got to start
Yep.
again. But yeah, but no, I'm glad of what we've settled on with harmony. It's just, yeah, it's everything's in balance.
Do you ever get any family members that are part of the ecosystem, the network for an individual reach out to you and explain how it has changed or impact their loved one?
Like anyone from our family could
Or
actually
just in
use
general,
it.
like anyone that's using the product, their family extended to say, oh, it's like I feel more at ease with mum or dad or my brother living independently because I've got Harmony.
Yeah, absolutely. So, back to my mum, she's become my sales manager because she loves it so much. So she lives in an area where there's a lot of retirees. So she's told all her friends, and that's resulted in leads from retirement villages, as an example. I never would have picked that in a thousand years, but yeah, that's kind of one example.
Do you have to build the product in Australia because it's a physical, or did you build it
Yeah,
overseas? Like how did
yeah,
you put it together? Because it's quite difficult.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So looking at, development, you get a lot of overseas development these days, but you get a lot of, there's a lot of really expert people in Australia. So with us, it's all been made in Australia. So all of the development, all of the everything is, everyone's Australian based. And also we needed that as well, with our, grant with the Australian Digital Health Agency. All of our team needed to be in Australia. So it's actually something that I'm quite proud of now as well. Like it's really, yeah, everyone is near here.
So you talked about receiving a grant to do so. Was the process really hard, or is it something quite easy?
No, it was really hard. So like it was a grant proposal, and they can take a lot of time to submit, and a lot of detailed information, and the way you say things, and even though it might not be many pages. And then as a result, so we were really lucky, and one of 18 companies that was selected.
So how many people do you have in your current team that runs the company? Like, is it just you, or do you have others as well?
Yeah, so we're still in startup style. So we've got a development team, a small development team of three at the moment, and myself. We use, like, obviously, external people where we need to, but yeah, we achieve a lot. We, as a development team as well, have really harnessed AI. So, one of my developers, as an example, benchmarked himself as being the equivalent of three developers. And
Yep.
he's mind blowing. So, yeah, so we've been able to scale quickly like that. Um,
Did
but,
you
you know,
ever see this as your future, like 5, 10 years ago?
like, oh, no, no way. I was, 5, 10 years ago, I was in corporate life, and I was, wanting that promotion and wanting to um, challenge myself and more authority and responsibility. I never ever would have thought I'd be a startup founder. But now, now I could never imagine going back.
Yeah, one from another,
That
I
was a
get
10.
you. Yeah. The idea of going back feels like you're slowing down.
Yeah, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Doesn't it? 'Cause it allows you to stretch your legs and, there's learning from your mistakes or there's just yeah, you just learn new things as well.
Building's fun. Let's be honest,
Yeah,
it's a lot of
it
fun.
is.
That I don't
Yeah,
like, yeah, yeah, there's a heap of mistakes and things that go crap in between, but I
yeah,
wouldn't trade any of it because the building when you're building up that product to launch and to show people what you put into it,
yeah,
I don't know, like, it's not even the launch sometimes, it's the actual build that I find so enjoyable because it's just like the ideas just coming like, "And I can add this, and I can do that, and imagine if we can do this together." Like, just the thrill, but also I think the cool part is that it's functional and your
yeah,
family are getting the use of the product at current.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, there is that, I'm not gonna lie, there is that, tech nerd side of me that, the developers show me something that they've made that's new and it's like Christmas, and you kind of just, "Let's do this, let's do that." But it's also, like um, if it's good enough for my parents, if it's gonna solve some of their challenges, then it's good enough to release it. And it's getting that, uh, kind of fills up your medicine cup, like it's medicine for the soul, being able to help families like ours and people like ours,
Navigate
like
this
my mum
period
and
of
dad.
time, and especially like you what you said, if it's good enough for my parents, I think that
Yeah,
I mean that's your benchmark, really, isn't it? Because
yeah,
you'd only want the best for your parents when it comes to support and care.
that's it, and that's kind of my measure stick as well. Like we've got, in our team, we've got really experienced product testers, but mum and dad are the first people that get it once we've released it. And, if like, they're going to tell me if it's not easy to use or what were you thinking, or I'm not going to even use that. But they're also going to tell me if they love it. Um, so, yeah, they're our first testers.
When you first gave the product to them, was it like were you overwhelmed or like I think I would have had a teary to be honest with you because of the hard yakka and work that goes into it for them because they are the benchmark
Yeah,
and then to be honest,
yeah,
our parents are our hardest critics as well.
they are. Yeah,
Yeah,
they really are. They really are. Like, it's probably there's been a couple of examples. It's mum that's, my number one sales manager now. But I think it's also my dad who is, he's old school. He doesn't say a lot. He doesn't, show a lot of emotions. And when there was a particular scenario and it was that 5-page medicine list, he got up and he took his own medication. And I said to him, going, "Did you use Harmony?" And his answer was, "Well, how else would I have known what to take?" And like you just go, that was the little tear. That's the one of the drivers that keeps you going.
that would have felt good. But also the
Yeah,
fact that I think in particular that family members get to use something that doesn't, like you said, overbearing and you just know, like,
yeah.
and there's no asking the questions like after this we need to have a conversation because I have an auntie.
Yep, absolutely.
Sorry. Um, did you did you have any like I know that you said that your dad wasn't quite tech related. Was how long did it get you from somebody that was resistant to technology to be using the product?
Like I think it wasn't too long, but I think it was also a combination of as we were adding more features that I knew he needed, bit by bit, like he was there. And I think, the medication management and the care information in one place was the thing that solidified it for him because they were the things that, you know, were the hardest challenges for him. 11 different medications at breakfast time, or it's I know, right? I know. Or it's, that folder of printed out A4 paper of all your care plans and all your information. So once we actually built out those features, that was the thing that changed for him.
Well, I know that sometimes even nurses get it wrong. So to have a
Yeah.
system that is backed by actual information of how you take medication.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
have you received much feedback from our frontline support workers and carers that come in and out of the homes?
Yeah. You know what? Probably the most would be OTs.
Yeah. Oh,
Obviously
they would
they're
love you. Yes.
Yes, they
Yeah.
do, they do. So our very first, like, yeah, they probably they're the ones that resonate the most and give us the most holistic feedback. But, it does come in all forms. It's like going back to that Parkinson's pilot that we did, the support worker emailed me and said, how do I invest in your company? So it's little things like that that they've given feedback, and you kind of know you're onto something.
So, do you have any, like, I bet no, you don't
Yeah.
have any. I know you do 100% have this in mind, but what is your goal for Harmony Care? Sorry, Harmony Health?
Harmony Health. Yeah, absolutely. So I think, my goal is that to walk into a home and instead of a Google Hub, there's a Harmony Home Health Hub supporting care, and it is connecting the people, but it's also as well following, excuse me, and supporting that person's care journey. So whether they go into hospital, have a baby, have an illness, it supports that journey.
So, 5 years from now, if you had a crystal ball,
Gosh, it would be sky's the limit, is all I can say, Yeah.
it
I'm
doesn't
not
have
going to
to
put a
be
ceiling
Australian
on it.
based, does it? Really, it can be anywhere. God,
Yeah,
no wonder why this
absolutely.
excites you.
I know. If
The
I'm,
possibilities, yeah.
so much so. And, how to say you're a startup founder without saying it. I wake up and I'm like, man, I had this dream that we could do X, Y, Z and we're in this country and that feature. And yeah, just really the sky's the limit.
Yep. So, if anyone's listening to this podcast today, tonight, wherever you may be in your car or at home, who knows? Where
Mm.
would they be able to find the information about your product? Is it a website? Is it LinkedIn? Tell me.
Absolutely. So, website obviously has got information on us as a company, and it's got some detailed product information and the ability to buy the hub. But it's also LinkedIn as well. It's social media. I think first and foremost, it's the website.
And if anyone is looking for a little bit more,
Yeah,
please reach out. Yeah, I can't wait. Like, it's really exciting. I
absolutely.
just sorry, I'm just gonna break from my script from this podcast. I just love the idea that as a family member, you don't have to always be that overbearing family member.
Yeah,
Somebody you can just see it from afar and give people distance that they require because people want to be as independent as possible. But as you know, as a bit of like the heart
it
plays
is.
with us, and we want to make sure that the people that we love the most are cared for.
Yeah, that's it. Like I'd find with dad, I'd be ringing him every single day. And without realizing, I would be holding my breath to see what that first hello sounds like. And,
Yes.
is that a happy hello that we're going to talk about what the grandkids are up to? Or is it, I'm in agony, I need to go to the emergency room? It is really tough supporting someone and it's tough for them as well. So I think first and foremost, yeah, it's for families. So
Thank you
that's
so
my
much. No, I can't wait to
cool.
see this. I'm gonna have to do like a catch up podcast like 5 years from now,
Yeah,
where it's gone from.
bring
Thank
it.
you so much for
I love it.
joining the podcast. All right.
Thank you. Thanks for
And
having me.
no worries.